OutCasted OC. Viewer discretion is advised. Incoming transmission in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's going on, everybody? It's Courtney here from the OutCasted OC podcast, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Monday Night Raw reviews. Honestly, I can say I have missed doing these so much. It's been so weird not jumping on here and talking about Monday Night Raw with you guys. It was so nice to have a couple of weeks off just to rest and recover, have Christmas. So I hope you guys had a great Christmas and a great New Year period. Happy New Year! I feel as though we're at a stage now in January where it's not socially acceptable to say that anymore. But anyway, just wanted to get the formalities out of the way before we get started. I am so excited to talk about this episode of Monday Night Raw. It was such a good show, and they are really setting up Royal Rumble season with a bang. So let's not waste any more time talking. Let's just get straight into it. Night Raw this week actually starts with us seeing Cody Rhodes walking into the arena backstage, and they are on commentary. So Wade Barrett and Michael Cole are talking about how Cody Rhodes and Shinsuke Nakamura is actually going to be main eventing the show. I'm so excited for this match. I feel as though Cody and Shinsuke will put on a hell of a performance. I act as though I haven't seen it. I have seen it. I'm just trying to hype you guys up for the match. I will say it's a pretty good match. We're seeing Cody Rhodes walking backstage, and we actually get interrupted by the voice of Drew McIntyre, and then it cuts to the ring. And we see he is standing in the ring with a microphone, and everyone is obviously cheering him. And he interrupts and he says that he has something to say. Drew McIntyre says that last week it was all or nothing for him in his match against Seth Rollins. And he said, for me, it wasn't about wanting the title. I needed the title. And he said, as you guys can see, I don't have it. I've been replaying this match in my mind for the last week. And honestly, I have to say that I cost myself the match. And he said that maybe he is holding himself back. And he says maybe he needs to step away from WWE for a little while and get his priorities straight. And obviously the crowd reacted quite badly to this because we don't want to see Drew McIntyre leave. We just want to see what you're doing with your gimmick. He continues on by saying that, it's not easy. And I'm trying to remind myself that I didn't lose clean. There was some form of interference there. Damian Priest from the Judgment Day did cost me, and he actually ended up screwing up both of us. And he brings up the idea of, well, why didn't you just wait until I won the match and I was weak and fragile and, trying to recover after the beatdown from my match, and then you could have cashed in, but instead you ruined it for both of us. He said, well, maybe I should leave for 9 years and then I would come back and get a hero's welcome upon my return. And then we just hear Cult of Personality. And who is it other than Pepsi Phil behind me? He's not actually behind me. He was in Portland, Oregon for Monday Night Raw. He makes his way out to the ring, and obviously he's talking about the fact that they are in Oregon, and that is known as like Roddy Rowdy Piper country. He was asking why Drew McIntyre wasn't wearing the kilt, but anyway, that's besides the point. He asks if Drew McIntyre is known for talking. He says, Roddy Piper was known for talking. I'm known for talking, but you're talking quite a bit at the moment, and I feel as though you can say a lot of this stuff to my face if you really want to. So Drew looks at him and he goes, congrats. He says, congratulations, but I wrote down congrats. It's crazy that you're still here after a month. We have a bet going backstage in the locker room that you will self-implode and you will be the reason as to why you have to leave. You're not going to be on your best behavior for long, and there's a lot of money riding on you being here. So if you leave, it's not going to be good. And he says that you and Seth Rollins actually seem to have a lot in common. You guys have said a lot on the internet and you've said a lot of things, but you're both narcissistic and you're both bitter. When it comes down to it, I care about what you do to me. And he said that he knows the real CM Punk, and he's traveled with CM Punk, and he's seen CM Punk at his worst and at his best. Back in the day, I really needed a leader. I was young, I didn't know what was going on, and I didn't have it all back then, and I really could have done with a leader. And he says that you are nothing but a threat. And he follows on by saying that, he's spoken to Randy, and he could have really used Randy back in the day, but Randy was fighting his own demons. Randy was going through his own personal struggles, and he straight up just calls CM Punk a demon. After this insult, which you can call it an insult, but we all kind of know that that's how people feel about CM Punk, he says that he got fired by WWE and he figured out how to make himself better, and he's now calling himself CM Punk's leader. So he goes ahead and says, I'm your leader now, kid. CM Punk just looks at Drew and he goes, look, I never once called myself a leader. I called myself many things in WWE, but I never ever called myself a leader. I just lead by example. He follows on by saying, why don't you go ahead and pledge allegiance to the Straight Edge Society and go ahead and shave your hair and live a clean life? Who did you see walk out of WWE back in the day? And was it me? You walked back into the company after your long stint of time away, and he said that not only did you win the Royal Rumble, but you actually went on to main event WrestleMania. So you followed me, now I'm following you. I'm back, and I'm trying to follow the path that you followed to get to the goals that I've got to, or that I would like to achieve. He says that you're upset like Seth, and I'm not a demon. When I'm pushed to this point, I am Satan himself. And he says that, if you say confidently that you have seen me in that position, it says a lot more about you than it does about me. And he said, I can be a really, 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 really nice guy until it's time not to be, and it's starting to become that time. I loved this interaction between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. I thought it was great. I didn't know that they had this much history behind them, but it's really interesting to see that a lot of this stuff is playing out. Drew McIntyre takes on CM Punk's comments and he says, look, at the end of the day, I have done everything that you have done. The win was supposed to be for everybody else back in the day when he won the main event of WrestleMania against Brock Lesnar. That was for everybody else. Everything that I have done in the past was for other people, Back in 2020, we really needed a shine of hope. We really needed someone to look up to, and I was that person. But now in 2024, it's for me. The win is for me. It's not for everybody else. It's all for me. Punk takes Drew's comments and he responds with, it's getting quite spicy in here. I'm going to go ahead and lead by example. I'm going to leave before I knock your teeth down your throat. And everyone just lost their mind. They thought it was insane that he said that. Only I can stop me now. Not you, not Seth, not Cody. And he says, at the Royal Rumble, I am going to throw you out last. He gets out of the ring and he leaves. I thoroughly enjoyed this segment. I'm really liking the way that they're including different people that could be seen in the Royal Rumble. It's a great way of seeing who the pool of participants could be, but also it's really nice to see that CM Punk doesn't have issues with just Seth Rollins. He's got issues with other people too in WWE. And that history that we're seeing starting to come up is actually really cool. It helps with the storytelling aspect, and it definitely helps CM Punk's case moving forward into the Royal Rumble. We see DIY backstage and they are making their way out to the ring and they are talking about how 2024 is going to be their year. They want to win the tag titles off the Judgment Day in 2024 and how this match is a must win. Tommaso Ciampa is about to go into a match with Finn Balor, which I actually thought to myself, I was like, I don't really know how this match came about. But there was a backstage segment, I think it was shown either earlier in the day on social media or it was from last week. Basically, R-Truth set up the match. So he set up the match between Tommaso Ciampa and Finn Balor. I am not complaining. I love both of them. They have had clinics in the past with each other and I cannot wait to see what they do in this match, which we're going to talk about right now because after this video segment, we got to see the match happen. Straight away from the very beginning, Finn Balor is in control of the match and Tommaso is just putting on a clinic. Whenever Tommaso Ciampa gets to hop into the ring, I feel as though he just takes advantage of the opportunity because he puts on a hell of a performance every single time, and I really want to see him have some form of gold around his waist in 2024. He needs to find some form of goldie on the main roster. After this, Tommaso Ciampa shoulder tackles Finn Balor and then Finn ends up elbow blowing Tommaso Ciampa. Damian Priest trying to cause a distraction, which we see Finn Balor taking advantage of, and then Tommaso Ciampa hits a really nice running clothesline and reverses a DDT onto Finn Balor as well. Finn Balor hits a stomp on Tommaso. After this, we see Tommaso Ciampa hit a really nice running knee. Finn Balor obviously counters this with a really solid sling blade, and then we see Damian Priest attempt to raise his edge Johnny Gargano on the table. Johnny Gargano ends up slipping out and ends up assisting Tommaso Ciampa in a roll-up to come away with the win. Finn Balor looked really shocked when he lost the match, but I'm excited to see DIY move forward. I think they have so much momentum not only as a tag team but individually, and you just need to give these people a chance to prove why they are as great as they are. We cut to a couple of video packages backstage, so let's go through them. We got to see a video recap of the match between Nia Jax and Becky Lynch from last week on the Day 1 episode of Monday Night Raw. We then cut to Jackie Redmond and she catches up with Becky Lynch backstage, and Jackie's asking Becky, how are you feeling after what happened last week? Becky follows on by saying, Nia told me to imagine her full force in that punch that she gave to me last week before the match actually started. I did. I thought she was going to break my orbital socket, break my nose, and shatter it into a million fragments in my face, or put me in the hospital, just like she did last time. And she said, I did consider how her punch was going to get me, and she did put weight behind it. She did bust my mouth open, and, obviously Becky Lynch lost the match, but she managed to get herself back up, walk backstage, and declare herself for the Royal Rumble. She said that she didn't end up in the hospital and that she is already stronger than she was last time. She said that we didn't end things between each other, but maybe this is just the beginning. So then she ends up walking off. I really enjoyed this. I think the matches between Nia and Becky, I feel as though they could do another one, so they're 1-for-1, and then they could have a rubber match to potentially blow off the feud before WrestleMania season. We see Kaden Carter and Katana Chance, as well as Piper Niven and Chelsea Green separately warming up for the match because they are going to be having a rematch for the tag titles tonight. We then cut back to the ring and we see Kofi Kingston is in a singles match against Ludwig Kaiser this week. Now, this is obviously in response to what happened last week. There was an incident that happened in the tag match that had Kofi and Jay going up against Imperium. Unfortunately, Giovanni Vinci was injured in this match and the match had to stop due to ref stoppage. Now, this plays into storyline because Ludwig's very upset about the fact that he's now the only person in Imperium who's actually left to represent the group. So he's coming in full force. He is just going absolutely wild on Kofi Kingston in this match. He's starting off strong. He hits Kofi with a really nice clothesline, but then we end up seeing that Ludwig is still in control of this match. He's clearly trying to seek vengeance on behalf of Gunther and Giovanni. Both Kofi and Ludwig exchanging chops between each other, and then Kofi gets control of the match as well too. We see Ludwig end up throwing Kofi into the ring barricade outside of the ring, and Kofi had a trust fall onto Ludwig, and there's a moment where they're both outside of the ring and they're getting close to like the 8 count, so obviously you have to hop in the ring before the 10 count, otherwise the match will be stopped due to count out. We got to see Kofi run back into the ring, but then we saw Ludwig end up pulling Kofi back out, not making it in the ring before that 10 count, and the match ends in a double count out, straight up brawl between Ludwig and Kofi. Ludwig just goes absolutely crazy. He throws a chair at Kofi Kingston and then ends up brawling on the ring steps, and then there's a moment where it looks like Ludwig is about to walk out of the arena, but then he runs around the other side of the ring and ends up kicking Kofi Kingston's face into the ring steps. Now, obviously, that was because Kofi and Jay took Giovanni's head last week, so Ludwig did the same to Kofi Kingston this week. So this we cut backstage and we see Jackie is trying to get a update on Kofi and his medical status. She runs into Ludwig and asks like, what was that all about? And Ludwig goes on and just completely loses his mind, and he's like, I'm the only person that's still here holding up and representing Imperium. Like, you know, at the end of the day, if you're going to take out Giovanni, I'm going to take out Kofi, and goes on and goes on. But I think the good news out of all of this is that we find out that Gunther is actually returning next week on Monday Night Raw. If you guys didn't know, him and his wife Jenny actually welcomed a baby into the world, so congratulations to them both. I'm excited to see the Ring General come back, and I do believe Gunther's baby will probably be like the next Ring General. Michael Cole is standing in the middle of the ring and he introduces Nia Jax out to cut a promo. We end up seeing Michael Cole referencing the last match that they just had, which obviously was between Nia Jax and Becky Lynch from last week, and he's starting to talk about it, and Nia's like, you're shocked? You're shocked by the result of that match? Because I'm not shocked. This time I'm more focused, I'm different than my last run, and if you think it's shocking, why don't I just go ahead and break your face, Michael Cole? She said, I need to start focusing on the Royal Rumble, and you know, I'm going to run through 29 other women and go ahead and challenge either Rhea Ripley or Io Sky to earn my spot to main event WrestleMania. And Rhea Ripley's music hits, and I kid you not, like, she got such an insane reaction. Watching the crowd pop for her not only has me excited for 2024, but it also has me very excited for Elimination Chamber, because if you think that pop that she got on Monday Night Raw this week was loud, I literally was envisioning in my head how loud it's going to be in Australia. It's going to be like at least 3 or 4 times that loud. It's hard with Rhea because she's a part of a faction of heels, and so you want to boo her, but we love her so much that it makes it so incredibly difficult, like, for the fans to decide how they truly feel. I mean, I feel that for myself personally. I love Rhea Ripley. I love her in Judgment Day. I love the Judgment Day. So I think it's just really interesting to see how the crowd is reacting. Whether that means there's a babyface turn coming in along the way, I'm not too sure. But anyway, Rhea Ripley goes off on Nia Jax and says, you know, the crowd knows that you talk up such a big game and you act like that you've already won the Royal Rumble, but you are seeming to forget that I actually did throw you out of the Rumble last year. She said that it's great that you beat Becky Lynch last week, but Becky Lynch isn't a Rhea Ripley, so you need to stop walking around like you own this women's division, and if you are going to win the Royal Rumble, you seriously need to keep my name out of your mouth. Nia takes Rhea's comments and follows on by saying, Rhea, you know, I'm going to give you credit. You're one of the most dominant champions that we've had in WWE, like, ever. But you're also forgetting that when I returned, I put you on your ass. You're too scared for a one-on-one. between you and I. Every single time we've wrestled, it's been in a multi-woman match. You're too scared to go up against me individually. And she said, when I win the Royal Rumble, I am going to choose you. And she says, see you soon, unstoppable champ. Gets out of the ring and walks off. So could we potentially see Nia Jax enter the Royal Rumble, not get her opportunity, but then she goes up against Rhea Ripley at Elimination Chamber? I don't know. I just feel as though that's kind of where WWE is going with this. I don't really want to see Nia versus Rhea. I don't. We've seen it before. I don't need to see it again. We get a couple of video segments backstage and a couple of video recaps. So I'm quickly going to go through those. We had a video recap of The Rock's return last week from the day one episode of Monday Night Raw, basically going over how well the social media numbers did for it. I believe it hit over like 170 million views, which, I mean, good for him, but it is what it is. After this, we cut backstage and Jackie Redmond is catching up with Cody Rhodes before his match against Shinsuke Nakamura, and she asks about Shinsuke, and Cody is answering her question and be like, you know, this really should be over by now. And we see Shinsuke run into the camera and just start beating down on Cody. They both start brawling backstage, and we see not only security, but we see Adam Pearce run in to break up the brawl. We then find out after this that the match between them is still on for the main event, and it is now a street fight, so anything goes. Super hyped for this. The backstage brawl between Shinsuke Nakamura and Cody Rhodes, we then cut back to the ring where we are getting the rematch for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. So this is the former champions, Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, taking on Kaden Carter and Katana Chance. This was a short match, I'm not going to lie to you, but it was a great match nonetheless. I do feel as though these four women in their tag teams have a lot of great chemistry when they're working together in the ring. As we know, Kaden and Katana are always on each other's wavelength. They're always working together really well, and it's awesome to see. So straight away from the beginning, Piper and Chelsea are trying to get the advantage on the girls, but then we end up seeing Kaden Carter hit a really nice drop kick on to Chelsea. The champs are just in charge of this match from the very beginning as well too, but then we end up seeing Piper and Chelsea take control of the match. We see a really awesome move coming in from the champs as well. They obviously have really great in-ring chemistry working together as a team. And I believe a lot of their tag team moves are like probably some of the best we've seen from any tag team in a very long time. They work very cohesively together, and it's really nice to see them working together in synchronicity when it comes to this. We see Piper Niven hit a really nice senton as well, and then she accidentally ends up hitting a Vader bomb onto Chelsea. So this was originally meant to be on Katana, but then we end up seeing it be swapped out to Chelsea Green, and she hits her by accident. Then we see the kickstand move come in as their finisher, and the champs have retained. So Kaden Carter and Katana Chance are still your WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. And during this match as well too, we got to see a bunch of different tag teams backstage watching the match. So we got to see Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae, Maxine Dupree, Ivy Nile. We got to see Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark, which I'm not pulling a face because of them. I'm just pulling a face as why are they in a tag team now? They're both amazing singles wrestlers. Keep them single wrestlers, honestly. And then we saw Tegan Nox and Natalya, which, I mean, I could have left them out and you guys wouldn't have noticed anyway. So, oh my God. So after this, we had a video vignette for R-Truth. Now, it's been shown on TV within the last couple of weeks that he is trying to infiltrate Judgment Day, but Judgment Day don't want him to be a part of the group. JD McDonough is quite upset at the fact that R-Truth keeps thinking he's a part of Judgment Day. We had this really funny, honestly, I've watched it so many times since. I can't do it justice. It's so funny. We had this video vignette for R-Truth and him going into Judgment Day. There is a bunch of photoshopped Judgment Day pictures where obviously all of them are holding gold, and then you can see that R-Truth is holding the 24/7 championship. Damian Priest reaches on the ladder at Money in the Bank to claim the briefcase. We see R-Truth on a ladder next to him. Rhea Ripley is pointing to the WrestleMania sign at Royal Rumble, and we just see R-Truth reacting to the pyro underneath. Honestly, it's a beautiful tribute to Judgment Day. I highly recommend that you go ahead and see it. If you don't see anything else from Monday Night Raw this week, make sure you go ahead and check out this video segment. It is a minute and a half, and I was crying with laughter when I watched this. This is so funny. R-Truth never fails to make me laugh, and this man deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. From that video package alone, it was fantastic. After this, we see the Judgment Days actually watching the TV backstage in their clubhouse, and they're reacting to this vignette because obviously they don't want R-Truth to be a part of the Judgment Day. And Rhea responds, and she's like, well, how long are we going to keep this R-Truth joke going? Like, are we actually going to go ahead and sort it out? We need to stop R-Truth. And Rhea reminds Damien and Finn Balor about DIY and about how they're coming for the tag titles. Damien Priest follows on and was like, well, I mean, if it wasn't for Drew McIntyre, this, Drew McIntyre, that, he's clearly obsessed with Drew McIntyre. And he calls Drew McIntyre a joke. And then he turns on Rhea and goes, well, why did you have to go and make an enemy out of Nia Jax as well? And she said that she'll handle it. And then Rhea looks at JD McDonough and says, please just go and handle The Miz. Then we go on to the match between JD McDonough and The Miz. Now, JD comes out with Dominic Mysterio. The Miz doesn't have anybody in his corner yet. We see R-Truth come out and he's standing next to Dominic Mysterio outside of the ring because he's trying to support Judgment Day. Miz hits JD with a really nice shoulder tackle, and then JD is distracted by Truth rocking up. JD ends up chest kicking Miz as well. Miz hits a really nice neck breaker, and then Dominic Mysterio is distracting The Miz, and we see JD hit a really nice corkscrew onto The Miz, and a nice, really nice step up insecurity as well too, coming in from JD McDonough, which he follows by a suplex as well too. The Miz regained control in the match, and he hits the yes kicks, which they've been renamed to like the I don't know, they've been renamed to something that's not related to Daniel Bryan. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Miz ends up targeting JD's knee a few times, and we see a figure four coming in by The Miz. And then we end up seeing the skull-crushing finale for The Miz to come away with the win. It's quite funny because in this match, R-Truth doesn't really know who he wants to support. He's trying to support The Miz, and he's trying to support JD. He's like, doesn't really know what's going on. After this, we cut back to the Judgment Day clubhouse, and they've just been watching the match on the monitor in their clubhouse. Rhea and Finn are both annoyed by R-Truth, and they're like, we can't keep doing this anymore. This can't keep happening. Like, it's got to end. And then after this, we see Seth Rollins is making his way out to the ring to cut a promo. We end up going to commercial, and after commercial, we come back to our king, our one and true savior, Seth freaking Rollins. It is the year 2024. And no, nothing has changed. Courtney is still very much obsessed with Seth Rollins. I don't understand why I'm talking in third person right now. But yeah, just letting you guys know, nothing's changed. Seth Rollins is still the king of my heart, the king of Monday Night Raw. So he comes out to the ring and welcomes everybody to Monday Night Raw. He mentions that we are on the home stretch to Royal Rumble. There's less than 3 weeks until Royal Rumble. And he says that after that, we will be on the road to WrestleMania. He mentions he's got a really good track record when it comes to WrestleMania. He said that, he's done a lot of things within WrestleMania, but there's a couple of things that he hasn't done, and he would like to tick this off his list. He mentions that he's never taken a world title into WrestleMania, and he's never headlined WrestleMania. He said that 2024 is the year of Seth Rollins, and he's worked too long and too hard, and he has taken the most important prize in the industry very seriously, and he has shown people why there's something to care about. He mentions that the title meant nothing this time last year, but he's taken it, he's worked on it, he's been a workhorse within the wrestling industry, and has shown why it is the most important prize that anybody would want to achieve and anybody would want to get. The work's not done though, and he asks, who am I going to beat when it comes to WrestleMania? People are chanting like CM Punk, and I believe Seth said something under his breath. He was like in his dreams or whatever. He mentions that the Raw roster is loaded, and before he gets a chance to finish his sentence, Jinder Mahal comes out. Jinder comes out to the ring and just starts ripping into Seth Rollins, and he says that, your purpose is clearly here, and it's what we're seeing, and it's to entertain people, and he doesn't understand what happened to the old Seth Rollins that he used to see back in the day. He says that you are the world heavyweight champion, but you have a platform and you've got no value. He said that, you consider yourself a workhorse. Well, where are the opportunities? There's been opportunities for many people but myself, and you are overlooking me. That you really shouldn't overlook me. I beat Randy Orton, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, that was a pretty crap title reign. But anyway, he says that, this disrespect will not be tolerated, and now I clearly have your attention. Seth goes to Jinder and says, look, you are right. We have overlooked you. But it's been on purpose as well too, because you just haven't done anything to really show us that you are worthy of being a world champion again. And he said last week, it seemed as though The Rock screwed you, and you're coming out and ruining my party, and you're ruining our fun, and you're getting it in my face. Why don't you just take a swing, Jinder? Take a swing, take a swing, take a swing. And then when it looks like Jinder's not going to take a swing, he takes a bloody swing. And he just beats down on Seth, and they end up getting into a brawl in the middle of the ring. I'm not really too sure what they're doing with Jinder's character here. I know he's not going to be winning when he goes up against Seth, because Seth Rollins will be taking that title into WrestleMania. If it is the last thing I wish for in this life, it'll be that he takes that championship into WrestleMania. After this, we see Shinsuke Nakamura is stretching and getting ready for his street fight against Cody Rhodes. It's then mentioned that the match is now a street fight, which I'm excited. I feel as though when they add stipulations to these kind of matches, it always makes it super interesting, so cannot wait for the main event. We had a very quick match by Otis and Ivar. Not really anything to kind of talk about. It's just two big meaty men slapping meat. We got to see Ivar hit some really cool moves. He did a really nice sequence where he did a cartwheel into a spinning heel kick and then followed up by a moonsault. Ivar did come away with the win on this one. This was kind of just a nothing match, if I'm being honest. This is kind of the only really thing that disappointed me about Monday Night Raw this week. We have a couple of backstage segments, so we're quickly going to smash those out before we get into the main event. So we see an interview with Jackie Redmond and Jey Uso. She's asking what's going to go on in 2024 for you. Like, do you have any resolutions? And Jey Uso says that he wants to win singles gold this year. Bronson Reed interrupts the interview and says, don't get in my way, and that you are not the only person that is going for singles gold this year. Seeing a video recap of the entirety of the Shinsuke and Cody Rhodes feud leading up into this match. Interesting to see the video segments that they've shown. I really like the comic book style that they've gone for. I really think it's interesting and it adds an extra layer of creativity to the vignettes because we see a lot of video recaps and stuff. So a lot of them just look very similar. So when you add something like comic book strips, it's really cool. And now it is time for the main event. So it is the street fight between Cody Rhodes and Shinsuke Nakamura. I really enjoyed this match. This was a lot of fun. It kept the audience on their toes, and I really enjoyed this match. So let's get straight into it. Cody straight away is on the comeuppance. He is in charge. He is just working on Shinsuke Nakamura. They make their way out of the ring and they make their way up the ring ramp as well too. Cody is still in control and he ends up bringing him back around to the commentary table and smashes Shinsuke Nakamura with a water bottle. Shinsuke ends up grabbing a broom and starts unloading on Cody Rhodes, and then Shinsuke is grabbing a kendo stick and does the exact same thing as well. But after the commercial break, Shinsuke takes over in the match and he ends up kneeing Cody Rhodes in the face. He kicks Cody to the midsection and sets up like a half crab move, and we see Cody Rhodes hit a really nice power slam. Then we end up seeing Cody grabbing a table from under the ring, and Shinsuke ends up finding a pair of nunchucks as well. He ends up working them on Cody Rhodes, and they make their way over to the timekeeper's area, where Shinsuke ends up accidentally misting the timekeeper in the face with the red mist. It was clearly set up for Cody Rhodes, but Cody knew better than that this time. Shinsuke's hitting Cody with a chair, and then we end up seeing Cody Rhodes throwing a chair into Shinsuke. So there was like a chair that Shinsuke had set up inside the ring, and we see Cody use that to his advantage, and he throws Shinsuke Nakamura into it. They're trading strikes, and Cody hits a really nice bionic elbow as well. Shinsuke ends up setting Cody Rhodes on a table, and Cody Rhodes goes through the table with Shinsuke as well too. Cody turns the match around in his favor, hits a really nice Cody cutter, and then ends up throwing Shinsuke Nakamura into another table, following this up with a crossroads to come away with the win. To be honest, I really would have actually liked to see Shinsuke Nakamura win this. I feel as though this result going into Royal Rumble would have really added some doubt into Cody Rhodes' mind, because the way that I would like Cody Rhodes to go into WrestleMania season this year is him not participating in the Royal Rumble, him not winning the Royal Rumble. I want to see him struggle, and I know that a lot of us here on Outcasted, I know that Reese feels the same way about this that I do, but Cody needs to struggle. He needs to show everybody that he is fighting so incredibly hard to finish the story, however that is, whether that's with Roman as the champion or somebody else as the champion. We just need to see Cody Rhodes really struggling and fighting for it, and I feel as though that may still be achieved, but I just would have rather seen Shinsuke come away with the win. Shinsuke looked really strong in this match, and I like Shinsuke's character. I like his gimmick. I like how they've added like that aspect of him being an assassin in the ring. I just don't like that he's continually taking L's. It upsets me. It disappoints me, but maybe 2024 is the year that we work on rebuilding Shinsuke into a world champion. And with that, that brings us to the end of the Monday Night Raw recap. I had so much fun chatting about Monday Night Raw with you guys. As I said at the beginning, I missed it. I missed being on the podcast. I missed catching up with you guys and talking about Monday Night Raw, because it's one of my favorite things to do now. Not only watching the product, but actually talking with you guys about it. So if you stuck around till the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't done so already, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Chuck a like on the video. Go ahead and comment something that you enjoyed about Monday Night Raw this week. While you're there, go ahead and check out the description where you'll find all of the Outcasters social medias and all of our personal social medias as well, so you don't miss any of our posts when we're not posting on here. We're back into our regularly scheduled programming this week, and for as long as we want, actually, to be honest. We have the NXT review coming in this week from Reese, as well as our first podcast back as well, too. I am so excited. I miss chatting with the gang. I missed talking all things wrestling, and honestly, just having some great banter, because if you guys watch the podcast, you guys know we have a great time together. So, we've got the podcast coming this week, and then the SmackDown review will be coming in as well, too. We're getting back on our grind. We took a minute off, and we're gonna absolutely annihilate 2024. So I hope you guys are here for the ride with us. Make sure you go ahead and check out the socials. Everything is in the description down below. Subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and like the video. Show your friends. Be like, hey, look, there's some really cool people on YouTube that talk about wrestling. You should go follow them. I'm so excited to see what 2024 brings for the channel and brings for us personally as well too. I'm so excited for wrestling this year. It honestly is off to a fantastic start, and I cannot wait to see where 2024 takes us. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the podcast this week. Deuces, ooses.